Tuesday. My kids are still asleep, so I feel like I'm whispering. Even though I don't think they can't hear me from here, but I'm still like, I do not want them to wake up. Just stay asleep a little bit longer. Our dough is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. If you watched last night, it was just, you know, a little ball. And now it has reached the top. Look at this big. It's even slightly stuck to the plastic wrap. It is just absolutely gorgeous. It's not really sticky. If I push in slightly with my finger and do a little indentation, it should not spring right back up. It should leave an indentation and kind of slowly start to come back up. And that's how you can tell if it's ready. You see the indentation in it. Well, you can't really see it in the video, but you poke a little bit and you can just barely see it slowly starts coming back up. So that's a good sign that it is complete. Plus it's, look at that. It's jiggly, it's doubled. And then we are going to, with bagels, you go through a second rise. So after I shape them, I'm gonna put them on my pan, and then they're gonna go for a second rise just for like an hour. So let's go ahead and get going. I sent out the recipe a couple more times last night, so I know there's lots of y'all that are gonna be watching the replay and doing. So y'all are gonna y'all better keep me updated with how how your bagels turn out, because I feel like I am invested now and I must see I must see your bagels. I must see them. Okay, so again, this is a double batch, but look at this. There's a couple people hopping on. Good morning, good morning. This is our fully proof dough. We mixed it, ended up being finished last night at what, like 8:30. So 8:45, 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, 1:32, 33, 34, 35, 30. So it's 7, so 10, you know, ish hours. I could probably let this go longer if I wanted to. Like if you were in a rush and it's been 10 hours and you're like, oh, I could have let it go longer, but I also don't want them to overproof because they're gonna rise again here in an hour. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it, and it's cooler, so I can let them go longer. If this were summertime, I would adjust my time a little bit. Obviously with the heat, things are gonna rise much faster, right? But yeah, that's one thing I do love about winter, is that you can just leave everything overnight and it'll be fine. All right, so let's go ahead. I do have just a very lightly floured surface here. Just super lightly. Or you don't have to flour it at all if you just want to use a little bit of water to help with the stickiness. But bagel dough is really not that sticky. Again, it's so stiff and thick that it's really not that. Oh, can you see bubbles? Look at that. It's my favorite. Oh. Whenever I see bubbles in the dough, it's just my absolute favorite. I get so excited. And you would think it would get old, right? No, it never gets old. Just every time, I just love it. So again, this one won't just like drop out like whenever you're making your artisan loaf or your regular loaf, that it just slowly just pulls down and releases, and that's a sign that it's correctly fermented. Yeah, bagel dough won't really do that. So just get in there. I mean, don't, like with regular yeast, you know, don't do that. Now don't punch the dough, but just use your bench scraper. I love this one for, cause it's bendable. So I love this one because it curves around and gets stuff, but I like this one, just a straight-sided one, for actually cutting, because this one doesn't do too good of a job of actually cutting, but this one does. So this is for around the edges of the bowl, since it's bendable. And dollar store, okay, $1.25. Dollar store, like you spend those $6 on a bench scraper whenever you can get literally the exact same thing for $1.25. I bought one like when I first started. It was like $6 for the bench scraper. And then I was at the dollar store and I saw it and I literally compared them both. And it's the exact same thing. Like they had the little measurements and everything. I was like, did I just spend $6 on the same thing that cost $1? Hey, I'm all about frugal and trying to find a deal. So that one I was like, oh, I love the dollar store. For like tools for You know, like, again, I like the aesthetic stuff and the pretty bannetons and all the fancy stuff, but I also don't want to spend a whole bunch of money for something that just looks pretty when something else works exactly the same. So, not that there's anything wrong with that stuff, but I love it. Okay, so I'm gonna measure these out. You can make them as big as you want, or you can make them as small as you want. I find a good size is like, you know, 110, 100. If you measure these out at about 113 grams each, then they will be, you can eyeball it, you don't have to be perfect. I just do this because I try to like them. I tried to have them uniform size. That's just me. That's just, you know, if I have an order or if I'm, you know, perfectionist whenever it comes to certain things, I like to be the same. So 113 grams will get you eight bagels in this recipe. So FYI. But you can make 4 if you want to. You can make 4 big ones. Like those ones from Panera that are like this big. Yeah, these are not that big, but you can if you want to. Okay. So I'm just going to measure these out at about 113 each. Hope you can see this. So this is a double batch, so I'll be here for a few minutes measuring all that. I should get 16 because I'm measuring them all out at around 113, 115, somewhere around there. 112, it's fine. Did I just drop a piece? Where did it go? I am not all, didn't come all the way out. I am not all here this morning. I forgot to let the chickens out and I could hear them like, you know, fussing. And when it's like 7 o'clock and I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta go, but I have to let the chickens out. And then I couldn't find their thing to feed them. And so it was eventful right before I came on. So I'm like all flustered. So again, if you're just hopping on, we are just measuring out our bagel dough to about 113, roughly 113 grams each. That will give me 8 bagels for this recipe. But since I am doubling the batch, I should get 16. It doesn't have to be exact. I just now, good morning, good morning, good morning. I see some people just now hopping on, so we're measuring the bagels out of our big batch of dough. It's beautiful. It's not going to be all jiggly like the bread, okay? But it should be a little weight to it, but it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And we're not going to punch it. This is not a yeast dough. Don't be punching. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Goodness. This is a lot of bagels. I am shockingly out of bread for us, for my family. Like I get so into like making, you know, stuff for everybody else. And then my husband was like, okay, what do we, do you have any bread? And I was like, we have no bread. Cat, what? We have no bread. So he's super excited about getting some bagels. And his favorite is just the plain old, which, you know, I'm grateful for. You know, easy to do, easy to make him happy because he's very plain Jane whenever it comes to like food. So it makes it easy for me. Do y'all have, if somebody can type right now, what is your favorite bagel? I know, Teresa, Mom, you're my biggest fan. Your favorite is like Asiago cheese, right? I made some jalapeno cheddar bagels. For the first time, I had not actually added the inclusions into the bagel with jalapeno cheddar. I mean, it's the same as anything. But I had a special friend request jalapeno cheddar bagels. They were coming in to visit. Connor, if you're watching. And she made, so anyways, they were from Texas and they were visiting. And I made, oh my gosh. I didn't get to taste them. I should have made extra. But they look so good. So jalapeno cheddar, I love jalapeno cheddar bread. So I can't imagine in the bagel. I need to make some just for me. So she made, to go with the bagels, she made some venison burgers. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that sounds so good. So that's on my list to do, is make some venison burgers to have with the jalapeno cheddar bagels. That sounds so good. And bagels are like a good in between. Sometimes, you know, like bread, it's too much. You know what I mean? Like it's just too much. So bagel, you know, they're not like, these bagels are quote unquote the traditional. So they're not just baked. So they're not like light and fluffy. They're boiled first. Like a bagel to me, I'm like a bagel. Whenever you think of a bagel, you don't think of like, I feel like lots of times when you buy them at the store, they're like this fluffy, bready thing. And I'm like, no, I don't want to eat bread. I want to eat a bagel. So it should be denser and more, yeah, just denser and chewy, right? So these are chewy. And yeah, 'cause sometimes we don't want all that fluff and all that bread. So I have a couple pieces extra. I'm just gonna add. Some are gonna be bigger. Okay, so now that we have all of these measured, turn this around. So they're just plopped and measured to about 113 grams each, okay? So I've got them all separated out. Now the ones that do not have inclusions, we're just gonna shape them into a ball and poke our holes through. Now the ones that have inclusions are a little bit more involved, but it's still pretty easy. I'm gonna have one little section that has some flour and then another section that doesn't. So literally just roll into a ball, and then you can use your counter and just kind of roll around. That'll kind of help seal it at the bottom. And if it doesn't, I like them sealed because I like, again, some things I'm not a perfectionist, but I want my bagels to be smooth. I don't like seeing the little creases and stuff. So if I see little creases, I would just, almost like, have any of y'all ever made tortillas, like homemade tortillas? How you would like pinch it like this. And so that it gets, I like doing that because then it shuts all the seals at the bottom, and then you don't have, once they like rise and bake and you can kind of see all the lines, which sometimes it happens inevitably, but try to pinching like this, seals it at the bottom. So I'm just gonna make all my, so I kind of all at the bottom. Some people prefer to go like this, which is great. I don't really find that it seals it as well, because I don't want to see those at the sides. So if you just pinch it like you're making a tortilla, pinch it like this, it seals at the bottom. And whenever you put it down on your surface, it'll seal as it sits there. So again, I'm just grabbing the blob, kind of start bringing all the edges in. Oh, bubbles. Kind of pinch at the bottom. Oh, bubbles. I love the bubbles. If I see stuff, again, this is just me, perfectionist, but this is just the way I shape it, and I prefer them. It'll get you a prettier looking bagel without all those seams showing around the sides. And I love a pretty smooth bagel. Now, these are just the ones I'm doing plain, okay? So the ones with inclusion, we'll do that. So I'm going to do 8 plain, and then I'll show you. We'll do some, last night there was a couple people wanting to do chocolate chips, so we'll add some chocolate chip to some of them, and then some cinnamon sugar, because I put it on the inside. See how it's sealed on the bottom? And then as it sits for, you know, a few minutes, it'll seal, and then it's smooth. There's no, you know, half seams coming out, because whenever you boil them, the seams kind of expose themselves, and which is fine. I just don't like it. I like it to be pretty, okay? Grabbing all the edges, putting them out to, then I turn, pinch a little bit, let it sit. It just makes for a prettier bagel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See? So literally you're just making a ball. Make a ball however you want. This is my preference. If you want to roll it on the counter, that's great. A lot of people do that. I like the pinch. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I'm gonna do one more and then we'll do some inclusions, which I have you propped up on my chocolate chip jar, so I'm gonna have to move you here in a minute. We will do the cinnamon sugar first. Pinch, pinch. No seals, no seams, looking good. Okay, let me move these so that you can see, because I don't think you can see. Like I can see like the comment section like kind of raises up in front of me, and I can't really see like the bottom half of my screen. So give me a thumbs up if you can see. Can you see this? Because I can't really see it on my screen. Okay, so here's our blob, and we're gonna add some cinnamon sugar. Thumbs up. Okay, you can see. This is just some cinnamon sugar. I didn't measure. I just threw some cinnamon and some sugar. You can get technical with your cinnamon to sugar ratio if you want to. Okay, so here's my blob. Now I stretch them out gently. At this point, you know, don't tear it. You want to be gentle. I'm gonna just kind of stretch it out until get a rectangular shape, similar to, I like the pinch and roll. Yeah, isn't it awesome? I love it. How do you do your bagels? Do you pinch and roll? I feel like coming from making all those tortillas back in Mexico, I think that's where that came from. Like my instinct went to the pinch and roll. All right, so kind of like whenever you're making your bread, if you've made bread and you're doing your lamination, right? Just kind of gently pull it, same thing. It's just a mini version, okay? Like, you know, instead of your big dough. So I just pull it out gently into rectangular shape. Get it as rectangular as possible, because then we're gonna add in there and then we're gonna roll. So cinnamon roll, if you're thinking it as a cinnamon roll, think of it as a cinnamon roll. That's pretty much what we're doing. Just in an itty bitty mini adorable bagel size. Does anybody else like mini things? I love mini versions of things. It's just like my favorite. Next on my list to make is those like garlic knots. Oh my gosh. Where you roll them out and then you turn them into a knot, and then you just the garlic butter and herbed garlic. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I have my little triangle. Okay, this is just my little bagel, 113 grams. I gently stretch it. I didn't tear it, okay? It's not torn. Just gently stretch it out into a rectangle. And then we're gonna add, don't put it on the edges because you want them to seal. So kind of, and I'll give you a close up here in a second. Just kind of gently sprinkle your cinnamon sugar on the inside. You don't want to use too much because sugar, after all, is a wet ingredient, right? So it will start to draw out the moisture in your dough. So don't put too much in there. A little goes a long way, but don't get me wrong, there's a good amount of cinnamon sugar in there. And this just, as you roll it and you bake it, I'll have to show you some other time. I'll show you a picture. Whenever you cut it open, it's got that swirl on the inside of cinnamon. Oh, it's so good. Most people will just put this as their cinnamon bagels. They just put it on top. This is gonna have it on the inside as well. So basically looks like a little cinnamon roll. And then I will put the topping after we boil them. Then I'll sprinkle some more cinnamon on top, cinnamon sugar on top. Okay, so next we're gonna just roll, okay? And I did not put, see if you can see the cinnamon on the edges because, oh, you can't see that either. Okay, there's no cinnamon on the edges because we want it to seal, okay? So just seal it, we're rolling, we're sealing. You literally, to seal it, you can just hold it for like 1, 2, and it literally should seal it. And then if you need a little bit of extra help, this is why I wanted a section without flour, because the flour doesn't help with sealing of the dough. So on a surface that has no flour, just gentle, don't too much pressure, okay? Just gently roll it out. So start in the middle, kind of gently roll out. One thing that I find that really helps is, because I'm going to bring the edges together like a rope, right? If you smash just the very edges, that helps it seal better. So I smashed this side, I smashed this side, and I'm going to bring them together and then just pinch. Now these will not be as uniformly and perfect and pretty as just my balls, which we'll poke holes in those in just a second. So just pinch to try to hide the seals, but you know, they're gonna have toppings on them after all. So it's not like it has to be perfect, but perfectionist here. I try to make them as beautiful as possible, but then that's it. So it's got the cinnamon on the inside. It's shaped into our bagel shape. And then after we boil them, you know, we'll do that part where we're actually gonna put, oh, I gotta make sure I remember which ones are cinnamon. Then we'll put the cinnamon on the top, okay? So, but that's it as far as shaping. So I'm just using parchment paper on my pan. And they will stick to the parchment paper. So just before I put them on the parchment paper, I just like dab. That's why I had this section here with a little bit of flour. I just dabbed a tiny bit of flour on there and I stick it on my parchment paper. That's it. Okay. So I'm gonna do one more cinnamon because that way I can remember. I'm gonna do 2 cinnamon, 2 chocolate chip, and so I can remember whenever I go to boil them which ones are cinnamon and which ones are chocolate chips, so I can make sure. Now the chocolate chip, now I do not add, I probably could, but I do not drizzle chocolate on top of the chocolate chip. They're all on the inside, but trust me, that's plenty. Once they're boiled and you bite into them, it's plenty. And it's very chocolatey. Whenever I first made them, I asked for feedback, and some people said that they wanted less chocolate. I'm like, what? And some people said they wanted more chocolate. So, you know, to each their own. If you want more chocolate, then you can add chocolate, you know, on the outside of the bagel if you want to. But I feel like, oh my God, it's a donut. It's not a bagel. So, like, just having them on the inside seems to be like the perfect amount of sweetness for the chocolate chip bagel. So again, we're putting the cinnamon sugar on the inside, not on the edges, because we're gonna roll it and peel it shut. We're basically making an itty bitty cinnamon roll. Pull, roll, pull, roll. Why do you boil them? Boiling them helps so the texture will be different whenever you boil it versus if you just bake it. If you just bake it, it's gonna be more of a fluffy, bready texture. But if I boil it first, that kind of just seals in and gives it that classic chewy bagel texture. So you don't have to boil them if you don't want to. I've never done them just baking them, but they are definitely more bready versus chewy like a bagel. Like, again, in my mind, a bagel needs to be chewy, right? If I don't boil them, they won't be chewy. They will be more of a bread. Which, hey, if you like them that way, then absolutely, just bake them. You can totally let them sit here, let them rise a little bit longer, and just bake them. Totally can. I just personally like a classic, I don't know if they call this, you know, like the typical New York bagel, like a more dense texture. Yep, that's it. It'll be chewy, denser texture than bready if you just bake them. Does that help, Portia? Let me know. Okay, so I put the stuff, I rolled it out, I'm smashing just the little edges so that whenever I bring them together, they will seal better. You like chewy. Okay, good, then boil them. Boil them if you like chewy. There's a if you're local here, this place called Bagel Heads, local to Pensacola, that people, you know, like locals love that place. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's nothing compared to these bagels, okay? But my point is, they switched ownership. And they didn't used to boil their bagels. And I'm like, they used to just bake them. And I'm like, maybe that's why it was. Now that I think about it, you know, this was back like years ago before I was into, you know, sourdough, you know, bagels, making them myself. And I'm like, that has, because I was like, what's the big deal? I don't even, whatever. That's what it was. And then after they changed ownership, they did like this whole thing where they're like, we're going back to the original style of making bagels. And we're going to, you know, our recipe's staying the same, but they changed how they cook them. And what are they doing now? They're boiling them first. And I'm like, right, yes, that's how it should be. You should boil the bagels first. That completely changes the texture of the bagel, the flavor of the bagel, in my opinion. It just changes everything. So if you're looking for a traditional bagel flavor, texture, you need to boil them. And it's I mean, again, you're not boiling them. It's more of a bath. So what I'm going to do here, whenever I let them rise for another hour, about halfway through, you know, 45 minutes in, I'm going to bring a pot of water to boil. And then once it comes to a rolling boil, then we put them in there and do 2 minutes per side. So I'll put a little timer and then boil them 2 minutes, you know, flip them over and then boil them for another 2 minutes and then put them on my pan. So it's not like it's, you know, labor intensive. Okay, so okay, let's do a chocolate chip. So let's do a chocolate chip. So same thing with the chocolate chip. We got our ball of dough. We're gonna gently pull Don't tear it, just gentle into a triangular shape. Sometimes they're a little misshapen because I added little pieces of dough to it while I was measuring them, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. Stretch them out. Now this one's a little bit harder because the chocolate chips get a little chunky, which I thought I had the mini chocolate chips, but I can't find them. So we're gonna go with the regular size chocolate chips, but if you have minis, it may make this a little bit easier. And a little goes a long way, so. Okay, so you're on the chocolate chips, so hold on a second. I'm gonna switch jars so that I can prop you up. Okay. All right, so here's my ginormous jar of chocolate chips. All right, so we're again, same thing, same concept. Hello, Emily. Hello, good morning. So we're just gonna add them to the middle as well. Hope you can see this. We're adding them to the middle. We don't want them to be on the edges because then it won't seal. So, you know, eyeball it. I don't have a grams I measure on this. You just eyeball however many you think you want, okay? Stretch it out. Roll it up like a cinnamon roll, okay? Pinch the little seams. At this point, it pinches and seals pretty easily because I do not have a floured surface. So make sure you do not have a floured surface or else it will like never seal. So if you're having problems with it sealing, check your surface. It probably has lots of flour on it. All right, smashing the two little edges. Some people describe this as a snake eating its tail. Smash the edges, and here's the head of the snake, and it's like eating its own tail, so kind of overlap it a little bit. Just ever so slightly, and then pinch. And as it sets for another, you know, hour, as it does that second rise, it'll relax, and the pinches will kind of seal together just a little bit. So I mean, if I were doing this in, you know, real time, it really doesn't take that long to do this. I'm just doing this slowly and demonstrating and talking. But in actuality, whenever we're doing this, it really doesn't take that long. And you don't have to add the inclusions if you don't want to. If you just want a plain old bagel, or if you just want to put the stuff on the top and you don't want it all included in there, then just stick them on top. You don't have to go, I just like going the extra mile and putting it on the inside because it just makes for such a better flavor. So there we are, chocolate chips on the inside. You can't really see any seals, can you? I mean, lightly, a little bit of flour before I put it on the parchment paper. That is it. So it can go pretty quickly. I'll show you. Okay, so here's the balls that we made earlier, right? We pinched, grabbed, and pinched. So these are just the plain ones. So I'm gonna use with just a slightly floured thumb. I'm just gonna poke a hole right in the middle. And I like to kind of move, because if you don't, then, you know, you're just gonna like get it in your nails and it's gross. So I just kind of literally like move a little bit as I push through, and that's it. And if you want, some people go like this. If you want to do it this way, that's fine. Whichever way you find easier, that's it. So the plain ones definitely go a lot quicker. So you're just, and if you notice at the bottom, see, it's nice and sealed, so that little pinch and roll really, really helps with sealing at the bottom so that you can hide all those seals and you don't have all that. It'll end up, I mean, it's still a delicious bagel, but I'm all about presentation. I love it whenever it looks all even and pretty. Not to say that whenever they boil, sometimes they're going to do their own thing anyways, and they may, you know, but for the most part, they turn out pretty uniform. Okay. Dip it in some slight flour so it doesn't stick to my parchment paper. And that's it, y'all. That is it. So I'm gonna let them sit here So for another, hour, and then in about 45 minutes, I will turn on my water in my pot, and I will get that to go to a rolling boil, and then I will come back on to show you the boiling and, getting them in the oven. But that is it. And you can do this with any inclusions you want. Like I said, I did the jalapeno cheddar the other day. I just did the exact same thing, except I added the jalapeno cheddars, okay? And then I rolled it, smashed the edges, did the, snake eating its tail slightly overlapping, sealed it, literally the exact same thing. So you can make, if you want Asiago cheese, put your Asiago cheese on the inside, roll it, and it's the same. So, I don't want to keep you on here the whole time that I finish doing all these, so that's, because I got several more to do. So if y'all have any questions, feel free to ask questions, and if not, then I'm just gonna go, and I'll see y'all in about another hour, and just in about 45 minutes in, if you're doing the follow along series, rewatching, let your dough, your shaped bagels rest for about an hour, and then 45 minutes in, turn on your water so that you can start getting to boiling, and then we will be back to boil them. So I will be here continuing doing this, and I'll see y'all in about an hour or so. So thanks for watching. Y'all have a good day if y'all are working or going to school, whatever y'all are doing. Bye. Thank you, Audrey. We'll see you later. Bye, Sam. Bye, Kurt, Douglas, Kathy, Elizabeth, Shannon, Clarice, Michael, Shirley.